Okay, are we ready? Shall we start? So I just, before I answer the last questions, I was just going to tell you a little bit about a project that we are doing here. Are you interested in that? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, okay, good, I'm glad. So, so you can see that there is two donation boxes here. One is for the BGF building and maintenance, the other one is for Bodhinyana Monastery here. So I'm going to tell you what that donations are going to go to, yeah, for the Bodhinyana Monastery, because this year they're going to go to something slightly unusual that you may not be aware of. So just to give you some background here. So when I was in Sri Lanka about a year ago. I usually go to Sri Lanka every couple of years. I'm going to go again next year. And when I was there, I usually teach a retreat like I do here. There it is more based on meditation and things. And usually when I teach a retreat in Sri Lanka, we have because it's a very Buddhist country, we get nuns coming on my retreat, lots of bhikkhunis come, monks come on my retreat, and the lay people. It's like an enormous hall full of people, maybe 100 people or so, and really, really nice atmosphere with all the monastics and everything there. And then I often have interviews with them. So we talk, we have a chat together, we talk about all kind of things. So with the monastics, ask them, how are you? And so I ask these nuns, the bhikkhunis there, what is it like to be a bhikkhuni in Sri Lanka? And then they tell me all of these horror stories, how difficult it is to be a bhikkhuni, really, really hard. There are thousands of bhikkhunis now in Sri Lanka. They say about over 5,000 bhikkhunis. And they say that, first of all, they don't get very good support. It's very generally in life, it's more difficult to get support as a female renunciant than as a male renunciant. Usually as a male, you are much better supported. It's really unfair, but that's how the world usually is. They don't get proper support. They don't get proper training. So very often they don't know their rules very well. They don't have any kind of good education in the suttas, which is the mainstay of any Theravada monastic. They don't really have good teachers. I remember I asked them, well, how do you meditate? Because they were quite good meditators. They got some really nice results. Oh, we're seeing these lights. What do we do now? I thought, wow, okay, great. But I asked them, who is your teacher? They said, oh, I have this book I read. That's my teacher. And who is this book? Well, there's this fellow called Amata Gavesi. And this fellow, Ajahn Brahms, told me he visited many years ago, and he said he was really dodgy. Actually, it's not that dodgy. He had some good teachings, right? But it was a little bit kind of, okay, I'm not quite sure. So I said to them, okay, okay, good, you're using him, but don't take him too seriously always, because some of the things may not be right. I said, oh yeah, okay. They said, okay, let's listen to what you have to say then. So not good training, not good support. Their living facilities were no good. Usually living in the cities, not really having proper secluded monasteries. Not really living in a place suitable for meditation. And yet, they were still good meditators. And so when I saw all of that, I felt really sad. Now we have the bhikkhunis in the world. We have a sangha of female renunciants roughly on par with the bhikkhus, but they don't have what they need to do to really make the most of the monastic life. And so I thought, because I was there, and there's a very, very strong group of Ajahn Brahm supporters in Sri Lanka. Ajahn Brahm is incredibly famous in Sri Lanka. And so the group of people who invite us every other year they invite me, every other year they invite Ajahn Brahm. They know Ajahn Brahm can't go every year, so they invite me as well. It's not like BGF, you get Ajahn Brahm every year, and you get, is that Ajahn Brahm here every year? Every other year? Okay, every other, because it goes to Penang, right? Okay, anyway. So they have a very strong group of lay supporters and professionals. These are people who have very successful professionally, etc., etc. And so I brought everyone together, and I said, "This is not working in Sri Lanka. It's not obviously not working. We should do something about this." And I said, why don't we have such good supporters now. You are all here. You're all Ajahn Brahm disciples. Why don't we establish a proper monastery for nuns right here in Sri Lanka? We have a really good group of people like you. We have nuns who want to train. We have really good facilities in Australia. We can join forces to make this work really well. Why don't we establish a monastery here right in Sri Lanka? And when I said that, usually when you bring together a group of people, there were monks there were nuns there were lay people there, usually there are some naysayers. Yeah, no, that's not going to work. Yeah, we know what Sri Lanka is like. Everyone was positive. It's the first time in my life I have suggested something and everyone is positive. Never happened before. Usually there's someone who is negative, yeah? And I was amazed at how positive they were. And at that moment, I knew this is going to work, yeah? If everyone is positive, it means that they were almost like looking for a project, looking for something to do. This is a very strong society, and all they were doing was inviting Ajahn Brahm and myself. They needed something more to do, and that was going to be establishing a monastery for nuns. And so I said, well, that's wonderful, but first of all, we have to ask Ajahn Brahm. I haven't asked Ajahn Brahm yet. This was just an idea that came to me while I was there. So let me go back and check with Ajahn Brahm first of all, because otherwise we're in trouble if he doesn't want to do this. I came back, and usually when I make suggestions to Ajahn Brahm, he says, no, that's no good. Yeah, that's a bad idea. Yeah, don't believe in that. Because Ajahn Brahm I don't know, I think he just wants to be left in peace and he doesn't want me to think too much about kind of smart ideas. But this time, straight away, he said, yes, that's a really good idea, straight away. And so again, really surprising that Ajahn Brahm was so positive. Then I went to Ajahn Hasapanya, the boss of the Dhammasara monastery. She was also positive. And then you started to know that this is going to work. And so what we have done then since then, everyone is on board. We have created an organization in Sri Lanka with a proper constitution based on the BSWA constitution. It is right now, it is in the process of being created into a society formally recognized by the Sri Lankan government. Is going through that process now. Once you have that, you can start receiving donations and things because it has to be a formally approved body. So that's what's happening now. So there is a organization with a committee. There is a nun who is the spiritual director, just like Ajahn Brahm is the spiritual director in Perth. She is kind of half Australian, half Sri Lankan. She was trained partly at Dhammasara, partly in Newbury Monastery. Really, really nice nun. Very together, very intelligent, good meditator, very good character. All the right qualities as far as I can see. Then there is a monastic consultative committee in Australia, which consists of Ajahn Hasapanya, Venerable Karunika from Santi Monastery, and myself. And then there is Ajahn Brahm, who's kind of the main, the sitting behind the scenes and kind of looking at everything. So this is the setup that we have. And so now, what we are doing now is basically getting this whole thing going. They're already starting to look for land in Sri Lanka, because soon as the organization is established, which we expect to happen within a week or two, they can start buying land, and the monastery can start to be built, and we can start to operate this thing here. In Perth, we have established now a bank account. The Buddhist Society of WA has established a bank account especially to collect funds for this project. It was passed by the BSWA committee just a few days ago. I was obviously very active with these things because I felt a bit obliged to take part in this. And so now we have started to collect funds for this project. We want to help the Sri Lankans a little bit because the Sri Lankan economy has been very, very difficult for the past couple of years. And so we are doing this. And so the reason I'm telling you all of this is because I think this is a really nice project. It will be possible for monastics here in Malaysia in the future. If Venerable Dhammapiya would like to visit Sri Lanka, she can go to this monastery and go there, a real Buddhist country, a real good monastery. Venerable Punsirivara is also, of course, most welcome to go there if she wants, even though situation in Thailand is also quite good. So it opens up a possibility. There will be nuns from Dhammasara going there, nuns from Sri Lanka coming to maybe Australia. There will be an exchange program. There will be teaching done together, all of these kind of things. So I'm saying all of this, that if you give a donation to Bodhinyana Monastery today, it will go towards that project. That's what it will go towards. So you know what you are giving to. So next time you go to Bodhinyana, you don't look for that kuti that wasn't built by your donations. Yeah, this is the way it's going. And so if you want to support this, then that would be wonderful, because I think that one thing we need in our world today to get that gender balance is better monasteries for nuns. So, Venerables, actually, I shouldn't talk so much about bhikkhunis. We have 2 bhikkhunis here. Would you like to add something to what I have been saying? Either one of you. Say something about this. Do you think it's a good idea, what I'm saying? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Please say it in the microphone so people can hear you.
Sadhu Ajahn, I think it's a brilliant idea. I just came back from Sri Lanka. Chief sent me for my higher ordination in Sri Lanka.
Right.
So I know the situation, and it's really, really difficult for bhikkhunis, definitely. So I was also searching for a bhikkhuni monastery to go and practice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I could not find one.
Yeah.
So Chief sent me to the university instead. Yeah, so
okay.
That's the reason. It's really, really difficult in Sri Lanka for Dasasumata and also for bhikkhunis.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think, Ma Sadhu to Ajahn, it's great intention. I just think, I hope the future bhikkhunis will really, benefit from this project. Sadhu.
Great. Thank you so much, Venerable. That's very, very, very good of you to say that. Venerable Punstirivara, would you like to say anything? Do you have any? You don't have to if you don't. If you really don't want to, it's okay. It's really it's all right. Yeah, because I think probably enough said anyway. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know that before I do the last Q&A, so that we have what's going on. So now let's get on with the Q&A, and as we go along, please feel free to add to your question if you don't feel I replied to it or whatever. Dear Ajahn, thank you for today's sutta lesson, to be aware of the nature of the world and watch out for the danger of sensual desire world. Hence, I really appreciate the encouragement to let go by itself, which is difficult as it is against the rat race something society. How should we live well spiritually and not be alienated from society? So the idea here is not that you should be alienated or you should leave society or anything like that. The idea is more that you relate to society in a new way. Instead of relating to society by what can I get out of this, how can I maximize my life in terms of status, in terms of well-being, money or whatever it is, you think more in terms of what can I give. What can I return to society? What can I give to the people around me? How can I live with more kindness in the world? That is kind of how you change your attitude. So you can do pretty much the same thing you have always done. It's just that how you live that life becomes different. In your family life becomes, how can I support my family better? How can I live better with my husband and wife, my children, my parents, my larger family? How can I support them? How can I make my family life into a spiritual path? And if we make the family life into a spiritual path, it becomes much more enriching and much more interesting. And it changes the way we deal with the people around us. You can change your professional life, your life at work, and make it into a spiritual life. How do you treat your customers? How do you treat your fellow workers in your company? How do you treat your boss? How do you treat those who are under you? You make all of that into a spiritual path. You treat people with kindness, with understanding. You focus less on the benefits that you can get out of this, on all of these things, and you build these things up instead. So it's just a change in attitude. And you may already be doing this to a large extent, probably. That's probably why you're coming here. But you can do even more of that. Even take it one step further. We can always do things better. I'm always surprised. After being a monk for 30 years, I realize I can still do things better than I'm doing it now. It's always kind of a work in progress, moving towards the ideal, being the ideal monastic or the ideal layperson. So this is, you make every moment of your day, if you can, into part of your spiritual practice. What is the right thing to do now? What would a Buddha have done now? What would Ajahn Brahm have done now? What would the Bhikkhuni Khema, the wisest Bhikkhuni, what would she have done now? What would even the lay women at the time of the Buddha, who were the most famous, maybe Visakha, but anyway, whatever. What would they have done? And then you kind of align yourself with the Dhamma in this way. Nanda Mata, I think, was one of them who was very good meditator anyway. Okay, so I hope that helps. Dear Ajahn Brahmali, when someone is going through a serious illness, I know I can't help much, but I can pray. Is there any sutta or chanting verse, or should I radiate metta, may she be well? So usually we don't call it prayer in Buddhism, because prayer usually requires kind of a god and things to intervene. We usually just call it chanting, you recite for somebody. And usually if someone is seriously ill, what you chant is the Bojjhanga Paritta or the Bojjhanga Sutta. And you find verses, the 3 cases in the suttas actually, where they chanted these verses and they came out of illness. Will that work in your case? Maybe, maybe not. Because the thing is that in those days you chanted the Bojjhanga Paritta, and because it was in Pali and because they understood the language, they would have understood. Wow, this is really nice. These are really beautiful suttas, and they would kind of listen to that, and then they would kind of emerge from the illness because of the power of the message, not just because of the chanting. However, you can radiate metta to them. So chanting the Metta Sutta and radiating metta, wishing them well, that can maybe help a little bit. What may help even more is actually to go to them, visit them, be with them, do some chanting when you are there, hold their hand, say some kind words to them. Wow, I want you to know that I really appreciate you. I appreciate our friendship. You've been such a good friend for so many years. What a wonderful thing that is. How rare it is in the world to find a friend like you. I really appreciate you. And if you say the right kind of words, it will go to their heart. And when it goes to their heart, there's a healing that happens within a person because they feel better about themselves. Very often the most powerful kind of healing is the feeling of metta. Having metta for everyone around you heals yourself as a consequence. So just go there and be kind to them. Say some nice words, and that may be the most powerful help you can give them. When we chant the Patidana idang me nyatinang hotu sukkita hontu nyatayo, are we thinking of the departed relatives all the time while chanting? Yes, think of the relatives. Bring them up in your mind's eye and actually wish them, wish them well. I share this merit with you. You think that while you're doing the chanting. Maybe we should do the chanting in English so we understand what we're doing, but never mind. Bring them up in your mind's eye. I wish you well. I share this merit with you. This is kind of what we do. And if they are there, they will be able to feel your intentions. Hi Ajahn, if you were stuck in the same room with Donald Trump and Xi Jinping, what would you say to them? Thank you for your teaching and guidance, and feel fortunate and grateful. Okay, that's good. So if I was stuck, and I have no interest in being in the same room with Donald Trump and Xi Jinping, I mean, the problem is that these are some of the most powerful people in the world. And the reason why they are in the position they are is because they believe in power. They believe in worldly things. They look at the world in a very, very different way from the way we look at the world. That's why they are there. That's how they got into those positions. They are interested in geopolitics. They are interested in the power of their country. They are interested in economic growth. That is really all they are interested in. Do they have a spiritual side? Maybe they have a little bit of spiritual side, but their aim, what they want to do is basically to become the strongest country in the world, or whatever it is that they want. And so I would have no interest in meeting these people. I have absolutely zero interest, because I think it's a complete waste of time. far better to come here to the BGF. Yeah, this is nice because here you are with the like-minded. You have someone you can talk with, someone who will be interested in the real Dhamma, not somebody who is just interested in kind of how to get along in the world. I have more hope for Xi Jinping than Donald Trump. I must admit, Donald Trump, I have zero hope that he would be interested. Xi Jinping, maybe, because he has a little bit of Buddhist background, probably. But still, I don't think I would be. It would be very interesting at all to have any conversation with these kind of people. If they're just too far removed from the spiritual path. Tell him to meet with Ajahn Brahm. Yeah, I don't think Ajahn Brahm would want to meet with them, so I don't think it would work. So, yeah. Anyway, so that was not very much of an answer, but anyway, that's all I have right now. So, dear Ajahn, please share practical advice on the 8 precepts. Is it okay to eat my daily supplements and medicine? Yes. Is it okay to sleep on my simple bed, or is it must sleep on the floor? Simple bed is okay. Is it okay to put lotion on skin if dry? Yes. If a passerby hearing nice music and feel happy, is it okay? Yes. Is it can eat dark chocolate after 12 p.m.? Yes. What type of liquid is okay after 12 p.m.? Pretty much anything. But basically juice, tea, coffee with sugar, with coffee mate. If you want to use some soya milk in that, some people say it's okay, some people say it's not. Don't take it too seriously. Yeah? As long as you are kind of ballpark within, you are okay. So that's all of that should be fine. Some people say even milk is allowable in the afternoon. It varies a little bit. Some people, little bit of differences of opinions. These tiny little differences are not all that important. So do what seems best for you, what works for you. That's what I would recommend. Dear Ajahn, can you please explain more on dependent origination in forward and reverse order? Next retreat. I think that takes about 1 week to explain that one. I'll give, maybe let's see. Maybe I can explain in 5 seconds. We'll see. Let's give me a minute. Thank you, Ajahn, for always coming to KL. Well, this is really good. My adult son always play with video games which involve shooting and killing violently. I feel this is not good for the mind, but he does not listen because he is addicted. What is your advice? What was that? Take the sledgehammer and kind of bang, yeah? I would say he has to figure it out himself. Yeah, adults are adults. Adults, you can't force them to do anything. Yeah. What would you do if you saw a stranger, playing a violent video game? Would you be so concerned? Probably not, because it's a stranger. Because it's your son. Because of that attachment. That's why you become so concerned about it. Fair enough. But I would recommend that you don't try too hard. If you try too hard, usually it's counterproductive. People become more stubborn. They hold on even more. So go gently. Instead, just give your love, give your kindness, and say that you care. And often that will enable people to make good choices because they feel free. They feel free from being judged and these kind of things. Then they can often make better choices in their own life because of that. So I would never really recommend you to try too hard to change your children. It's very hard to understand the people around us. Maybe he needs that in a certain way. Maybe it's just kind of part of your makeup. You need those things. There is also some research done on the effect of violent video games on you, and I think there may be some influence, but I don't think it is that much. Most people are able to distinguish between real life and video games, I think. So maybe there isn't any reason to be too concerned, although I am certainly no expert in that. Again, these things are very difficult, and sometimes you have to do the opposite of what you think is right to make things work out. So lastly, dependent origination in forward and reverse order. So just very briefly, forward order just means that you start with avidya, and from avidya, which is ignorance or delusion, the whole process, you go through the whole process from that, ends in dukkha. Yeah, go through all the various stages, all the way to dukkha. So if you are deluded, if you are ignorant, you will have dukkha. That's what dependent origination says. Only if you have no delusion, you have full insight into the nature of reality, will you have no dukkha. That's when dukkha comes to an end. That makes really good sense when you think about it. Delusion obviously leads to problems. The reverse order is when you start with dukkha and you say, okay, there is dukkha. What is the cause of dukkha? Cause of dukkha is rebirth. Yeah, that's what the Buddha said. It's kind of, most people wouldn't say that. Yeah, if you ask someone on the street what is the cause of suffering, how many people would say rebirth? 0 people would say rebirth. This is why it takes a Buddha to say something kind of very obvious like that. And then you take it backwards, all the way back to avidya. Avidya is the root reason. That's forward and reverse order. Then there is the cessation order. Cessation order is different. That shows you that when you start with avidya, you have the cessation of avidya, then each step ceases all the way to the very end. And that's why dukkha also ceases when you cease avidya. So, those are all the questions. And then the long version of dependent origination happens maybe next year. Yeah, you have 7 days, we talk 10 hours a day for 7 days. We can talk about dependent origination and we'll see what happens. So, any further questions? Any last questions? Would you like to say something? Yeah?
Trying to ask. Sorry. Yeah, on the
Whoops. Yes.
Yeah, so on the AN 8.66 deliberations.
Yeah.
So is the sutta touching on the jhana and ayatana?
Okay, so what was the number again? 8?
The deliberations.
Oh, okay, 8 liberations, right? Yeah, sure.
Is it touching on the jhanas and ayatana?
Jhanas and the
Ayatana.
ayatana. You mean the immaterial attainments?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. I think it is a kind of unusual way of presenting the jhanas, because it's not the normal way. You're seeing form internally, you're having form internally, you see forms externally. It's an unusual way of saying that. It's these things can be seen from different angles, and I think there's a particular angle at which to view the jhanas. So the first 2 there are the 4 jhanas. The third one is basically the Brahma Viharas or metta, and then the last 4 are the immaterial attainments. Yeah, the the infinite, the base of infinite space, the base of infinite consciousness, etc. Yes, that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Ajahn, regarding the story with Sonia, the comment that when one becomes an Arahant, they're dedicated to seclusion, and your comment about Ajahn Brahm's preference probably after good meditation is to retreat, right? But then I see yourself and Ajahn Brahm spend a lot of time traveling and spreading the Dharma. So does that take you away from this dedication of seclusion to some extent?
There is like a balance, yeah, with everything. So Ajahn Brahm says there's 2 things that he likes to do: teach the Dhamma and be in solitude. Those are the 2 things, yeah. And in a sense, they support each other, because if you teach the Dhamma in the right way, it is an act of generosity, an act of kindness. You teach the Dhamma and you help, hopefully other people will be inspired and you kind of keep the Dhamma going in that way. And so then you go back to your kuti and you feel glad that you have been doing an act of service, and etc., etc. So the two things actually go together. They're not completely separate. But you should find a balance between the two. That is the important point. So you stay in seclusion, and then you also teach a little bit. And you go in seclusion, you teach a little bit. And that's kind of the strange thing about the monastic life. It's kind of two extremes. On the one hand, you go around and teach, you meet with large groups of people. On the other hand, you go into seclusion and stay completely by yourself. It's kind of these two extremes that you move between. And that's kind of nice. It you become flexible in that sense. Yes. Okay. Any last questions? Yes, please. Why in?
Sorry, Ajahn, can I ask a technical question?
Of course you can. Yeah.
Satta Sahagata, Majjhima 128. The Satta is Sukha as well, right? Satta Sahagata.
Satta Sahagata. Yeah, so
yes.
That goes together with Sahagata. Majjhima Nikaya 128. Yeah, so Satta is usually an alternative word for Sukha in that context. Yes. Yeah, so Satta means like agreeableness at that point. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And for just now, the Vimokas, the second one, external, kasinas as well?
Probably kasinas as well, an external form. Yes, this is kind of the nice thing about talking about these things in a kind of a general way like that. They include a large number of various objects that you can use. Yes, they encompass entire groups of meditation objects within that group, and then you use these in this way. So yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ajahn.
Yeah. Any further questions? Anyone? Good. That means that we are come to the end of this part of the retreat. So, how many people are not coming back? How many people is it last time? Okay, a few of you. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you next time. So very nice to have you here, and I wish you all the very best for those of you who are leaving. And I think we should maybe finish off like we did last time, just by paying homage to the Triple Gem. And then there's a picture afterwards, is that right? Yeah. So let's just pay homage to the Triple Gem first of all, and then... sharing Marys, thank you. I knew it would come in very handy to have Venerable Pia, Dhammapiya here, so that's kind of handy. So let's share the merit for the Qingming festival and wish all the departed relatives and everyone well. So here we go. Edang men yati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Edang men yati nang hotu Sukita hontu nyatayo. Edang men yati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.